You can sense the intensity as they await the arrival of the Tennessee team here at Cleveland Stadium. The #1 undefeated Volunteers prepare to race onto the field. Everything is riding on this football game. So there's a special intensity, a special urgency. Here come the Volunteers. Wherever you listen throughout the world, it's football time in Tennessee.
Let's try this again, YouTubes and Facebook. I don't know if this is going to work. This is my first ever YouTube and Facebook live stream. It takes a lot of internet to push both streams, but I'm sure I'm gonna have some bugs. I had some internet trouble, and I appreciate y'all giving me another chance and tuning back in. We got a great show in store. I'm gonna introduce a new character to the show. Y'all gonna really like him and get a kick out of talking to him. But we got a regular co-host on, Couch Coach. He's on with us. But before we get too much further, I wanted to thank everybody who sent up prayers and well wishes for my son Sam, who's at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in Memphis. He was diagnosed with leukemia, and he's going to be there at least another couple of months, maybe even 4 months. It depends on whether or not they can see him in our hometown and give him his next round of chemo. But I tell you what, that chemotherapy is kicking his butt. And if anybody wants to call in the show, he'll be watching, and you can call in and say hello to him. His name's Sam. You can call the show at 855-489-7623. You can give me your bite me's. Everybody's got to have a bite me, especially I see Crying Ryan's in the house. I'm sure he has a lot of bite me's. I tell you what, if it wasn't for that offsides on that interception, Ryan, y'all would be going to the Super Bowl, period, bottom line. But I wanted to welcome the Facebook viewers, if we have any. So if you call the show, Facebook, I've been doing this show on YouTube for a long time. Got a great following. I haven't ever really done it on Facebook yet, so I welcome everybody on Facebook to call in also, 855-489-7623. And if you could do me a favor, and when you call in, tell me what you're watching me on, whether it's YouTube or Facebook. But I want to introduce somebody to the show. His full name is Bishop Bullwinkle. But he knows a lot about sports. You can ask him anything, and he can tell you the future. So I'm going to be the first ever to ask Mr. Wink. We're going to call him Wink on the show. Let's just call him Wink or Bishop Bullwinkle or whatever. But let me ask you a question, Mr. Wink. Is Georgia going to win in football now, the SEC East next year?
I ain't gonna preach too long. I ain't gonna take the service too far. My sermon this morning, hell to the no, no, no. Come on. Hell no, to the no, no, no. Yeah, to the no, hell to the no, to the no, no, no.
I appreciate it. Y'all heard Wink. He said, Georgia, you're not winning the East. What do you think about that, Couch Coach?
I think they need to keep him away from the liquor there. I think he's completely off. So this guy's already to a bad start.
Well, I think he'll be a good addition to the show. Do you have anything you want to ask Wink, or do you want to wait till later?
I think he's already 0 for 1 with me, so we'll see how he does throughout the show.
Well, I don't know if we've got anybody watching us on Facebook or not. I've been trying to check it out, but I tell you what, this past weekend with the NFL playoffs, before I get into my Vols, Tennessee men's basketball, who's kicking butt, by the way. They're ranked #1, Couch Coach, but What did you think about the officiating in the 2 playoff games?
Well, I mean, especially in that New Orleans game, that was a pretty bad call there towards the end. Especially going into the overtime. New Orleans had a chance to kind of go ahead touchdown. They didn't get it there on 4th down. It was a really bad pass interference call, bad miss. Everyone has their own theories of why they're missing that, but the bottom line, it was a clear miss. You just can't have those kind of things in the NFL. And being an official myself and having had that experience, I know the game goes very fast, but these guys get paid on whatever level they get paid. They get paid to do that job, and you can't have a blatant miss like that, because the more misses that you have, the more likely you're just going to have things that just the game escalates in the bad situations when you let stuff like that go. So I'm not a Saints fan by any stretch of the imagination. I'm a Falcons fan, but that was clearly a very poor call.
Let me ask you a question. I've often wondered this. They review everything anyway, and the sponsors could sure enough use the extra opportunity to put a commercial up. What do you think about being able to give each coach a 1 review for like pass interference or something like that, whether it wasn't called or it was called? Is that doable, or are we stretching the game out too far as it is?
Oh, I just think that, you want to definitely, pay attention to the rhythm of the game. I think whenever you have a lot of these kind of over calls and, challenges and things of that nature, it does affect, the rhythm of the game. And a lot of coaches do have valid points on that. But when it's a big play like that, that was a clear, if nothing else, that's a automatic 1st down, 1st and goal kind of situation. The refs, bottom line, they just missed that call. You cannot miss a call. You cannot miss things that are like, targeting, like blatant kind of stuff like that. You can't miss face mask. And I've seen that at the college level too. I'm sorry. I know that the game goes fast, but you have to call those kind of things. And again, if you don't call those things, the players take situations into their own hands, then stuff gets really ugly. So the NFL has to figure this out. And if they don't figure it out, it's going to turn pretty bad there. But I think that, a challenge in that situation makes sense. Again, if you're going to challenge on other things, why not on that?
Yeah. Well, we got a caller calling in, and we're going to get to that call. But when we come back, I want to talk about these overtime rules and see if we can come up with an idea. Roger Goodell, I don't have him on speed dial, but we could probably help him out with some rule changes. But let's go to the lines. You're on with Catfish and Couch, Coach. What you got? And are you watching on YouTube or Facebook?
Hello?
Yeah, are you there? What you got for us?
Yeah, you cut out there for a minute. Sorry about that. It's the Vol General. How you doing, Catfish?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you? What'd you think about them games this weekend, playoff games?
Well, there was always some very bad calls in there. The NFL has to get this sorted out somehow. You just can't go out there as a referee and miss that call, because I personally believe that cost the Saints the football game. You can't go out here and for the next week or so you question whether you have the right 2 teams in the Super Bowl. I just don't think they got to get this sorted out as quickly as possible. This officiating crisis just continues to go on, and it's bad for the sport.
I agree. Well, what'd you have for us?
Well, I wanted to talk about the Vandy game. Obviously wasn't the result we were looking for, but we were able to get the win, so it's always great to beat Vanderbilt in anything. But basically, the Vandy fans seem to disagree with the call. You listened to the game, right?
Yeah, I listened to it.
Yeah. So you didn't see the hook in the hole flagrant foul on Grant?
No, I heard on I think they reviewed it, but I didn't see the call.
So basically, what they were looking at was it's undisputed that he hooked Grant. right? So what they were looking at was to see if they held him, right? So that was the disputed part. If you're a Vandy fan, you're not going to like the call, and that's just plain and simple. If you're a Tennessee fan, you're going to think it's the right call. And everybody in the middle really seems to drift towards UT on this. When you look at the play, it's clear as day that he hooked him intentionally. And I don't know if it's intentionally or not, but he hooked him and he held him. Simple as that. That's why the rule was created. Now, if you're a Vandy fan and you want to go after the rule, that's fine. I don't like the rule either. But that was the intent of the rule, and the referees did it out and made the right call with that one. And Gary Parrish, or maybe it was Seth Davis, doesn't matter, he put this perfectly, one of them. They said, if you want to criticize the call, that's fine. But if you don't see the hook in the hold, it's because you don't want to see the hook in the hold. And I think that opens it up. Now, Vandy obviously should have won that game. That's 2 games in a row now that Tennessee should have lost, that Tennessee was able to win. And that's what championship teams do. They find ways to win games.
That's right.
What Tennessee's been doing. Yeah, and I predicted the Alabama game to be close. I told you it would be. And that's just because it's Alabama, and every time they see an orange jersey, they're going to play out of their minds. And that's same thing with Vanderbilt. Now, Tennessee has a target on their backs now, and this is what it's going to be like for the rest of the year. People want to beat Tennessee because they know that could be the difference between a bubble team getting in or a bubble team getting left out. Now, this West Virginia game, that's a different story. I don't think this West Virginia game is going to be close, and that's because West Virginia can't play. They're not a good basketball team. They beat Kansas a couple weeks ago, but that was in West Virginia. They're not going to compete with Tennessee in Knoxville. This game will be the line is 16.5. I think they're going to win by like 20. And that's just because West Virginia has a losing record. They're 9-10. I don't think this game's close. What are your thoughts on that, Catfish?
Well, Virginia's always been a well-coached team. West Virginia's always been a well-coached team, and I think they're going to be ready for us. Like you said, that we've got a target on our back. Everybody's going to be playing out of their mind when Tennessee comes to town or they come to Knoxville. But I think we win, 12 to 15 points. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I haven't really paid that much attention to the roster, but they've got one of the best coaches in basketball. So anyway, I think it's going to be a good win. I'm worried about Kentucky coming back to life. So any Vol fans, we need to start kicking dirt on Calipari's grave now. Make him have to work to have to come up out of that grave, because Kentucky will be back. Auburn slipped up a little bit, but they're going to be good. LSU is my sleeper in the SEC. I think they're going to be a very good team. We've got 3 or 4 or 5 teams that could make the tournament in the SEC. And I know we had several last year, but this going to be another good year for the SEC. Now, Florida, I say Ryan Schrick, crazy Ryan, crying Ryan's on hold, but Florida, you're not making it to the tournament. You might make the NIT, but you're not making the basketball tournament. But anyway, I digress. What else did you have for us?
Yeah, like what you were saying about the SEC, the thing is, the SEC had a great year in getting into the tournament, but they didn't really have a lot of teams go far. Tennessee, out in the round of 32, a miracle win for Loyola Chicago, and got a miracle run to the tournament in the Final Four. But Kentucky, Sweet 16, I mean, the SEC in terms of in the tournament, had a down year last year, and that's just because nobody made the Elite Eight, nobody made the Final Four. Every team was out right around by the Sweet 16. I don't think that's going to be the case this year. I think Tennessee and Kentucky both have legitimate cases to get to the Final Four and maybe win a national championship. Both of them do. Now, after Tennessee and Kentucky, there's a huge drop-off. LSU seems to be, they're number 3 in my power rankings right now, but the thing is, LSU has played literally nobody. They are loaded on the back half of that schedule. We are too, kind of, but not as bad as LSU. I think they have to play Kentucky just once, and it was a really easy schedule. LSU got a great draw. They're a legitimate candidate to win the SEC if Tennessee and Kentucky slip. LSU is definitely my sleeper, along with Ole Miss. By the way, Alabama is getting better.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention this real quick. A lot of people are still sleeping on Alabama. They're an underdog, and I was trying to see this on the road playing Baylor tomorrow. Give me Alabama on that one, easy. I just don't think – I think Alabama is as good as is right now. They can beat anybody in the country. You look at Tennessee, they make the free throws like they're supposed to. They upset Tennessee on the road. They blow the brakes off of Ole Miss. I think Alabama is going to compete. They're going to make the tournament without a doubt, in my opinion. I think they're built. Nobody wants to see Alabama in the tournament. If you're a one seed like Tennessee should be, or maybe Michigan, you don't want to see a team like Alabama because they have elite athletes. And I said this when I called in when I picked Tennessee to win a close game. They have elite athletes. They have the length to beat teams like Tennessee. And that's why if Alabama gets into the tournament, it's going to be really scary to see.
Yeah. Well, I think you're right. They played us tough. They beat Kentucky. I think there's several teams you don't want to see in the tournament. And one of them's Tennessee, Kentucky. I don't know if it's a huge drop-off, but there is a drop-off after Tennessee and Kentucky. But anyway, I've got some calls. Do you have anything you want to ask our new resident guest, Bishop Bullwinkle? I don't know if you heard him earlier. Did you hear him when I asked if Georgia was going to win the SEC East next year? How about ask Wink for us? Say, Mr. Wink, Bishop Wink, is Kentucky going to beat Tennessee this year in basketball? Ask him that, and we'll see what his answer is.
Mr. Wink, is Tennessee going to beat Kentucky in basketball this year?
No. Is Kentucky going to beat Tennessee in basketball?
Is Kentucky going to beat Tennessee in basketball?
I ain't gonna preach too long. I ain't gonna take the service too far. My sermon this morning, hell to the no, no, no. Come on. Hell no, to the no, no, no. Yeah, to the no, hell to the no, to the no, no.
Well, y'all heard Mr. Wink. He says no, Kentucky's not beating Tennessee, but we're going to go to the calls. I'm sure we've got an upset Kansas City Chiefs, Florida Gator fan, affectionately known on the show as Crying Ryan. What you got and how are you feeling, buddy?
I'm feeling cheated.
Cheated?
Cheated.
Well, talk to me.
Roger Goodell, you can bite me for your idiocy with the college football committee knows how to run an overtime. But you don't.
I agree with you.
Your overtime rules don't decide who the better team is. They decide who's good enough to win a coin toss. A coin toss. I'm so flustered I can't even speak. And they decide that the offense that wins the coin toss is better than the defense. Congratulations. That's half of the teams. That's not deciding the better team. You still got KC's offense and New England's defense.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, and, we're talking about this in the show prep about how, what is the perfect formula for overtime? And what do you think that would be for any overtime, college or pro?
I think you give the entire teams a chance to prove themselves, and then you go back and forth until one team can't, compete or can't keep up with the other team. So one team scores and another team fails to score after both have had their fair shot at a score. So like they both sides have been on the field for each team. Then you go until one side of the ball is not good enough to keep up with the other side of the ball.
So you like college rules the best, or like, would you prefer something else?
I like college rules because they at least give both the full teams a shot each time.
Yeah. And then you have to eventually, I think after like a third, I think it's like the third or fourth overtime, you have to score 2-point conversions and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
I think I'm trying to debate that because, to me, I think you definitely have to give both teams an opportunity to score for sure. It's ridiculous to have one team win a coin toss and the other team can't do anything. Especially, if they score a touchdown. If New England scores a touchdown, you have to give KC another opportunity to do that. That's just, it makes no sense that the college game, gives teams that opportunity and the NFL doesn't. And I think there needs to be some kind of generic, something in place for NFL and college to be able to do the same thing. But I do like the fact that, at least in the NFL, theoretically speaking, that defense matters a little bit more than starting everybody at the 25-yard line. Like that LSU Texas A&M game where it was like 71-63. It was like a basketball score or whatever it was. That's a little too much scoring for me. I think that, defense needs to matter. There's been talk about putting people at the 50-yard line, starting from there. There's been talk about, just playing one entire overtime. We've done that, and, that's been kind of mixed reviews. So are you saying that you favor, like, you like the 25-yard line? I mean, Catfish, what do you like?
I think they both should have it. It either start at the 25 if you don't want to have a kickoff, start at the 25-yard line. Not like college. I mean, you've got to go 75 yards and give them both a chance or something. I don't know, but they both need a chance. And I think there'll be there's going to be a rule change. There's too much stuff been stirred up over this. I think there'll be a rules change. Don't you? There's got to be a rules change.
Well, you would hope so, but I think that it comes down to just the integrity of the game. And again, like with the missed calls, when you have blatant missed calls, like what you had in New Orleans and St. Louis, I mean, that's just, you can't have that kind of stuff. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that people come back and say, okay, this is BS, this is rigged, and when you see a play like that, it looks like it's rigged. When you see something like that, it looks like when a ref doesn't make a call like that, it looks like they're trying to let another team win. And, if the NFL wants to combat that image, they got to do a better job with the officiating.
Well, I think that if it wasn't for that offsides, I said it earlier to you, Ryan, I don't know if you heard me. If it wasn't for that offsides on that interception y'all made there towards the end of the game, y'all would have won the game, period. There wouldn't have been any doubt about it.
Yeah, that is true. But also, think about it. KC wins the coin toss. They probably win because their offense was lighting up New England's defense. It was. Yeah. I still keep saying this to this day. We didn't lose the game. We lost the coin toss. Yeah. Because that's what we did. We lost the coin toss.
Well, let me ask you a question, Ryan. Is Mahomes still your Lord and Savior?
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to have a sophomore slump next year?
Nope. He ain't Dak.
He ain't Dak. Well, I wish you luck. I was pulling for you. Who do you think's going to win the Super Bowl?
Not the Patriots. Please, not the Patriots. There's one positive part that I'm kind of hoping, if the Patriots do win, that Brady will win his 6th ring. He'll have more rings than anybody else, and then he'll just leave.
Well, do you think he'll retire if he wins?
I hope he retires if he wins.
What'd you think about Mr. Wink? Did you like it? Did you like the new introduction to Bishop Bullwinkle? Did you get to watch that?
Yeah, I gotta watch it. I like it.
Lawtide's watching, and we got a gift for Lawtide. So will you, for me, Ryan, ask Mr. Wink? Say, Mr. Wink, is Alabama winning the SEC next year? And then I'll have to go.
All right, Mr. Wink, is Alabama winning the SEC next year?
Hell no! Come on, Wink! To the no, no, no! Come on! Hell to the no! To the no, no, no. Come on. Hell, no, no. To the no, no. To the no, 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 no. To the no, no. To the no, no. Hell to the no, no. Hell to the no, no. To the no, no.
Well, you heard it, Lawtide. Mr. Wink doesn't think Alabama's winning the SEC next year, so you can't argue with Mr. Wink. All right, Lawtide, I'm glad you're in here. Your basketball team, Lawtide, they're a good team. They're a good team. Well, what do you think about the Super Bowl? Let's get a little sneak peek before I have to get on out of here. If anybody wants to call the show, my son Sam, who's at St. Jude Children's Hospital in in Memphis is watching the show. If anybody wants to call in and say hello to him, any Georgia, Alabama fans or Florida fans, the number's 855-489-7623. But let's get a sneak peek for the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to win?
Yeah. Well, first off, I want to say, hello to Sam as well. I haven't met you, buddy, but we're thinking of you a lot. And listen, my family's gone through leukemia, and we've gone through a lot of stuff on our end as well. And so we're thinking of you guys. And I know you're not feeling very well right now, but buddy, just keep working hard and staying strong, and you'll get better. And we got a lot of people thinking about you. So anyway, so back to the Super Bowl. Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting matchup. Clearly, New England is the established team. They're favored by 3, which is not a tremendous line. I thought that would be bigger. You can't ever doubt New England, and I have a hard time envisioning, the Patriots losing back-to-back Super Bowls. They've been there 3 times. They might get upset one year, but it's just hard for me to envision, the Patriots losing another. But at the same time, the Patriots it's going to be a matchup in the trenches like how it usually is. And the Patriots have a good offensive line, but that defensive line for the Rams is no joke either. So, the Patriots have struggled with good defensive lines in the past. So I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards New England just because, I just have a hard time envisioning, the Patriots losing another Super Bowl back to back. But I also have a hard time, I could see the Rams winning the Super Bowl as well and having it out there and having that be a really big thing for the NFL to kind of have another championship out there in LA. I think that's the last time they had a team that won a Super Bowl out there was the '83 Los Angeles Raiders. So it's been a while. And so that's kind of what I'm thinking. At 3, I'm kind of leaning towards the Patriots, but who knows in a week or so what will happen. We can delve into that later.
Well, as some of y'all didn't tune in at the beginning of the show, this is my first ever dual broadcast, simulcast, or whatever you want to call. I'm on both Facebook and YouTube at the same time. So those that are watching us on Facebook, welcome to the show. We've been doing this over here on YouTube for a long time. Got a great following. We've got open lines, 855-489-7623. Before we get out of here, I got to ask you a question. What do you think about this Pro Bowl and this skills challenge? This is the first year they've done this skills challenge. What do you think about that?
I think it's a complete waste of time. It used to be that the Pro Bowl was after the Super Bowl, and it actually made sense. But now, everyone that plays in these, Pro Bowls, ever since they've done the Pro Bowl before the Super Bowl, it's been a total just intramural flag football game, essentially. And so, quite honestly, I don't know why they do it. The players don't really want to get hurt doing it. Gone are the days when a Sean Taylor would come out of nowhere and blast somebody. I think everyone just kind of wants to play and have the recognition of being in the Pro Bowl, have that money that goes with it, but they don't actually want to do anything with the game. So it's kind of like, what's the purpose of this, really?
Yeah. There was a Georgia running back years ago that got hurt. What was his name? Was it
it was Robert.
Edwards?
Well, Robert Edwards. Yeah, they had it was kind of like a bunch of activities going on before the game, and they had a volleyball game, and Robert Edwards blew out his knee playing volleyball, and that was the end of his career. So yeah, guys are afraid of doing that, and in that situation, especially in the NFL, now that you actually are a commodity, now that you are getting paid, it's like, what's the point of, having this extra game to where you could get hurt? But again, it's just the law of averages. In Robert Edwards' case, that was just kind of a dumb freak thing. That's the kind of thing that could happen when, you could slip on a stair outside of your house and that could happen too, So it's not something that happens regularly, but it is something that you have to kind of look at. Because when you're in the NFL, your body is your way of making a living. So.
Well, I agree with you. I don't know if I like it or not. I think they should just do it kind of like the All-Americans. Just name the best players. Half of them aren't going to show up anyway. They're going to have alternates. Just name the best player at every position on both the NFC and AFC, both sides of the ball. Have a Pro Bowl as far as being a Pro Bowler, but without the Pro Bowl, because there's gonna be somebody gonna get hurt in that skills challenge. Because like we said, Robert Edwards, he got hurt playing volleyball at the Pro Bowl. So I don't know. I don't think it's a good idea. I'm with you. Just name the best players at every position. Have a banquet or something, whatever they want to do, but I think that's all they need to have for the Pro Bowl. Nobody ever watches it anyway. Nobody plays any defense. I mean, it's just a spectacle anyway. It's not even a real game. But anyway, where are you going to be watching the game at? You got anything special for Super Bowl Sunday?
Yeah, I'm going to be working. We're transporting people in and out of around the World Congress Center all day. A little blurb about my company. We're a transportation service for individuals with special needs. And so we're renting a couple vans that week, and we're kind of, assisting with all sorts of different vendors that weekend. So especially on Saturday evening, we're in and out all over the place dealing with the traffic. So it's going to be hectic, but it'll be cool, and I'll probably just kind of catch it down there around Centennial Park or something. I don't know.
Well, I appreciate you helping me out today. I'm going to give a quick run through, and I'm going to end this thing. We've got Vodka Drinker, Ryan Schrick. Both of those guys watch me all the time. Law Tide says I have a doozy of a video coming tomorrow. It'll be uncut, Law Tide, he says. My boy SEC Dog, Space Mountain, Dennis Wilson's in the house, Herbert Bradford, Trav, Casino, Bambino. I haven't seen you in here before. Great to have you. Great to see you're a Tennessee fan. We need to start getting more Tennessee fans on the show because Georgia and Alabama fans have overrun the Volunteer Roadshow. Killer Mime's always in here. Let's see if there's anybody else that commented. Jake the Dog. I'm probably missing some of them. I don't know. The dedication for golf's in here. Glad to have you. Eagle's in the house. I haven't seen Eagle in a while. Phil AU fan 6. He's an Auburn fan. I'm glad to have you in here, buddy. Glad to have all SEC fans. Well, really all college sports fans. Jalen Hurts. Can you believe Jalen Hurts is watching Roadshow Sports there? Oh, man. Matt G.
I'm telling you, he's been listening to us.
Yeah, TN Volo, Niner, college basketball talk, Herbert Bradford, Hound Dog. I think I got them all. I can't scroll back. Oh, Joshua Simmons is in the house. But anyway, we're going to end this thing, Couch Coach, and we'll try to do this Facebook, YouTube simulcast every time I do a YouTube video. So those out there that want to watch me on Facebook, if it's easier, go check me out, Volunteer Roadshow. Well, anyway, thanks for tuning in. Go Vols. The Tennessee men's basketball team, they're going to the Final Four. I promise you that.